Bibia me wan me person method dan. If you say dan say there is too stressed because her friend now wo bibi ye o baby o. Omo a wo de dan be show mo sase omo ye no. Enye ni pa bia na ni papa adwempa woni tim. So we are open no obesim. E bia meeting kom. Enye reba uto dan na. We make sure say dan na me kotone dan papa.
Me see that because real estate agents, some of them are relevant to the customers. Some use fake products instead of using the acquired measurement of materials.
I think the cost involved in purchasing the real estate in the estates and other stuff is very expensive as compared to they are going to add. Mind you, they are just there to make profit. Every successful business wants to make profit.
Because baby are fine with me. I in a renovation. Now I come and say baby are very fine.
I'm Joseph Boateng, CEO of Silverline Realty and Investment Limited. We came to the general public. Na yebisa omanfo se ubesi dan ne se obeto dan no de wen na omope. We had several concerns and ebimu nso the problems our system no mu nso so tuudwa na ene no yabase yebeyimu ano mako send your concerns bia na se questions bia mo bisaye no yebe mamo nkyerase amomate sene ene mate ankasa na enye sene nipa erdwen ana sene obi erdwen bia na ye no kre na emu sene ti ankasa yede abremu.
Asase rani o. Wonim say Ghana ha de eba ne nsase e na afa Japade ho nsem a adwumakuo ba akopa e na betumi de wore ahye wo mu. Silverline Realty and Investment Limited. Wamu pe e na Ghana fo ina betumi de wonsasi wobo abawodin. Ye nsase na ya titusi se bum e de ama Ghana de hye. Ye wonsase ne bi e wonsawam. Dodowa, Oyarefa, Ayimensa, Cantonment, Adenta, East Legon, Oyibi, Pram, Airport Residential Area. Mechire se Ghana mia bebre. Silverline wonsase wo a ebianso asomdwe e wo ho. Your head office no ewa Adenta. And I'll bet me afraid one my trophy so 0505 504041 Silverline Uber Tasasi Wasumu Subejo.
Well, this is not entirely true. Generally, buildings that are put on sale can be classified in three different groups. We have affordable or very affordable houses, we have standard houses, and then we have executive houses. Whether you are buying or you are building, you should know the difference between these three. All right. Very cheap housing doesn't mean the structure should be of less quality. What is very much important in buildings that is put on sale or building your own or putting up your own home personally is that the structure should meet structure or integrity requirements. That's basically the quality of concrete, the quality of blocks and all that. When the structure is put up, the finishing, you decide on what to do. You can choose to buy a 20 cedis worth of paint. You can choose to buy 2,000 Ghana cedis worth of paint based on your own preference and your budget. But the structure, which is the block work and concrete work, you can't compromise. It's construction and you cannot compromise on the quality. Whether it is a cheap house, a standard house, or an executive house, the structure needs to meet integrity requirement. After the structure, every other thing, which is the finishing aspect of it, which is your painting, your door quality, your fittings. You choose what you want. You can choose to buy a 20 cedis paint, or you can choose to buy 1,500 Ghana cedis paint. It all depends on your budget and your preference. When we come to buying already built up house, you can decide, or you can know whether the building is of cheap quality or high quality based on the finishing. The aspect of, unless you have reasonable or concrete evidence of your claims. If you meet a contractor on site and ratio of their concrete is questionable, then you know that okay, this building is of less quality. But generalizing entire estate houses as cheap or as using cheap materials is not entirely true. All right, we have standard houses which I would say is not too cheap and not too expensive. Like I said earlier, all in all, the structure itself, whether it is cheap, it is standard, or it is high quality, the structure need to meet integrity requirement. Yes, obviously, putting up your own home or supervising your own home will be cheap. Even this, I would say, it's not entirely, may not be entirely cheap, depending on what you want. If I buy a piece of land and I want to develop for sale, the price of the land itself will be factored in the price of the house. Then the cost of putting up the structure will come. Since it's a business, we also factor administrative cost. Personally, as a business owner, the time that I have also spent in supervising the business or the structure will also be considered because it's investment. If that time that was using to supervise the work, that same time can be channeled in doing other things to earn me money, and obviously it's the business that I'm doing, so that is where I can spend my time and get money out of it. So I can't spend 2 cedis to put up a building and sell it 2 cedis. Obviously, building your own home will be cheaper than buying a home. We can say it is buying a home is cheaper or expensive based on the quality of work, like I said earlier, or based on your budget. Building your own home can also be expensive compared to buying a home, because if you know what you are doing, personally, I'm in the business. If I am building my own home, I can decide to give a high quality or raise the standard of my structure. You understand? And that will cost me more than even buying, because I know what I want. And also, what people mostly consider is that if you're a market woman and you leave your work, or you leave your work to another person, you come to the site to supervise your own work, because it is not your work, you will not quantify the amount of time you have spent on a site in monetary terms. You feel because it is yours, you don't need to calculate all these things. But truth be told, that one also has to be, or has to be considered as part of the investment that you are doing, whether you are building it for somebody or you are building it for yourself. You understand? Yes. And then again, when it comes to business, we also look at taxes, because obviously when you sell a house, you need to pay taxes. If you are running an organized office, you have accountants, you have secretaries, you have drivers who also form part of the business that you are doing. All these people, you pay them, but directly you feel it is not part of the structure you are putting up. So if these amounts are calculated to somebody who wants to buy a home, they will feel it is expensive, but literally they are not expensive, they are fair. this also may not be entirely true. Depends on the business or the company you are dealing with. Silverline as a body, since our incorporation from 2019 up to somewhere 2021, we didn't do installment payments more than 6 months, because we believed that long-term installments mostly bring land issues. If you look at most of our land issues that we have, I can say 30% or 20% of the litigation factors can be related to the payment plans. For instance, you buy a land from families or chiefs or whatever, you buy, let's say, 20 acres of land, and as a company you are given 1 year to complete your payment, and somebody comes, or an end buyer also comes to purchase half plot or a 1 full plot of land, and you as a company, you give such a person 1 year or 2 years to make the payment. When are you going to complete your payment, or when are you going to redeem yourself to the allodia owners? Obviously this one will bring problems, unless of course you have a money sitting down where you can use to buy these properties upfront. Then you can decide whether to give them out for 1 year or 2 years installment. So Silverline, we realized that long-term payment options created a whole issues, like were part of the most of the land litigation issues. So we're dealing with 3 months and 6 months. Recently we introduced 1 year, which we also have structures put in place to make sure that our grantors, or the business between our grantors and Silverline is always good, so that the end buyer or the client who has been given a long term will not be affected by any breach or by any default of payment. So I would say it depends on the business that you are dealing with. There are businesses you will pay upfront, but there will still be issues on the land. So generally it wouldn't be the payment plan that cause all these problems, but I would say it's integrity. If your integrity is important to you, irrespective of the payment plan you are giving to the client, you wouldn't try to jeopardize anything, or you wouldn't try to cause any problem on the land. If your payment plan is not good for you, you just tell the client, this payment plan is not fit for me, so this is what is good. If they agree, they do business. If they don't agree, you move to the next person. Thank you very much. Nobody will discredit a commodity or something that they intend to sell and make profit. Say sebi, quote unquote, sebi se wadwene mu da hɔ a ɛwɔ sɛ wohu sɛ obi ani hɔ ɔba bɛtɔn adeɛ akyerɛ no owi a bɛsan bɛka kyerɛ adeɛ a metɔn ama wi ɛnyɛ. Ma me nyɛ example, me so banche ɛna me de nam dwam sɛ banche o ono a ni na prose pacha. Do you think anybody will even take me serious? Nobody will take me serious. Obviously they will say good things about the banche. It is up to you, the buyer, who will make sure, or who will look at whatever the person is selling to make sure say near would you seek a air ton and san water. But you don't expect the one who is selling to tell you say everybody will tell you what they are selling is good. I use quality materials, I use this, I use that. Sometimes when it is even obvious that the materials or the fittings are fake, they will still tell you, or they will still try to use every possible avenue to convince you to buy. But it is always the responsibility of you, the investor, or you, the buyer, to make sure that what you are putting your money in is worth it. So, say property sellers don't tell the truth about it. And no, dear, we shouldn't expect too much from people. But even when it's business, nobody will tell you instances where somebody may give you a review about some of these things is when you see them clear and you ask questions. Sometimes they may be honest enough to tell you some one or two things are a bit discredited at the end. That is when you even put it straight to them. But if you don't ask them, or if you don't show, if you don't see, there's no way anybody will tell you that they are made way. And yet, you understand? There are waterlogged areas where people build. It doesn't mean that building in waterlogs are bad. If it is not waterway and it's a waterlogged areas, we have structures or we have things to put in place to make sure say waterlogged, irrespective of the nature of the land, it wouldn't affect the integrity or the strength of the building. Do you even know building on rocks sometimes also cause dampness? But people don't know. They feel usi down with waterlogged ma it cause dampness. Building on rocks sometimes also cause dampness because clear water comes from the rock. Into dege kakrabia you meet water, and those waters they don't sink. They stay on the rock because the surface is hard until they eat into the building. Sometimes even in waterlog, if you treat them well, you get good results compared to even on the mountain. So they are relative. If the contractor is good and knows what they are doing, irrespective of the condition they meet on ground, they will be able to solve the problem for you to get a very good or high quality project. Silverline has shown or has proven to the general public that we are worth doing business with. Since we started business for about 4 years now, our industry, if not the most, it is one of the most controversial and litigation prone industry that we find ourselves. Anybody can attest to that. But since we started business, we've not had any legal issues. We've not had any police issues relating to land litigations, fraud, and all that. We don't mean to say because we are Silverline, when you buy properties from us, problems wouldn't come. Land is land, irrespective of who is buying or whom you are buying from. For land, you shouldn't even trust your mother. You understand? And you don't trust anything anybody shows you. Do your own due diligence and confirm whatever they have shown you or whatever they have told you before you move to do business. And that is what Silverline has done. In our line of business, whenever we meet clients who happens to know nothing about lands, we always advise that they come with somebody who has in-depth knowledge about land transactions, so that it wouldn't be like we are standing on the we are in a comfortable lead. Whatever we tell the person is what they should accept. They have to understand what we are telling them, and also confirm that what we are telling them is good before they accept. When we do that, we feel good. And even when there is any problem, you will understand that we told you or we were honest from the beginning. Then we all will be in the train of resolving these problems. Issues, we can't stop land issues, but what will determine or what will tell you that the business you are dealing with is legitimate or not is how they resolve the issues. Even government buy lands and problems come. We have several instances where I can quote. Government buy lands and later there are issues. Do you think the government saw that there were issues and they still went ahead to purchase them? No. They were hidden issues, later popped up. So how you resolve the issues is what will tell you that this business is good or not. So Silverline, and truly Silverline has proven that we are worth doing business with. Construction is relative and can be classified in 3 different groups. Personally, we have affordable, standard, and executive. So as a client, before you give us business or before you bring a job to us, the Silverline, I want you to build this house. we will make you understand the differences between the job you are giving us. We have to understand your budget so that you don't start and stuck along the way. You understand? We have to know your finances. If you can go for executive, we go for you. If you can go for the standard or very affordable one. All in all, like I said, we don't compromise on quality. We've shown or we've proved that we are worth doing business with. In terms of construction, here is a construction site. You can see our mortar quality, our concrete quality is of good standard. But the finishing depends on the client, what you want. If you want high quality finishing like expensive paint, we will do it for you. All in all, you should expect great results. We, even before starting business, we will let you know your budget, the business you are giving us, whether you are building in full or you are building in stages. We present to you the budget for you to know what you should expect, the stage that you should expect before you even start. You weigh yourself if you can afford the budget we have given you before we start. So people should be free, or we recommend that people should bring business to Silverline. You will never be disappointed. Well, my advice to people who want to buy or build a home, first of all, you need to know your budgeting. If the home you want to buy or build, whether it's upfront or in bit, mortgage or installment, self-financing, whether you can afford it, because it will cost you more when you start and you are not able to complete. So always look at your budget. The standard or the size of building you want to put up, you will need to be sure whether you can be able to fund your project. And then 2, please hire the services of a professional, whether you are building it yourself or even contracting somebody. The company may take the contract, but personally make sure that you have somebody who will also advise you if you have no idea of what the service provider is presenting to you. You can also hire an independent body who can also supervise and tell you whether the job presented to you is of good quality. If you are building it yourself, please hire a professional to give you value for your money. Because these days, monies are hard to come by. You push in so much amount of money, and tomorrow, all the job you've done goes down the drain. It will be very difficult. So always hire or seek the services of a professional in anything you do with, whether in purchasing lands or in putting up a building. This question is very funny, but before you say something, you need to have proof. And we know we are running legitimate business, and we can't comment on this. Near can say, "Min who said, Yedisikane Sidan, Baba be a Sikani Befia Banubiano, and no dear yen to me, Ubiani Hawa, Unyani Sika, and in a no yen to me, entre. Etino Mr. question we a bear den say Becca say Anne and Debbie. Near ye to me, aka, near Yejinamu. When you come to Silverline, we've been in business for quite some time now. Ubianim how I your business. Enti Sikadruin some dear. It will be the last thing that we'll talk about. So, Yadimisi, Yadamasi.